Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. I shall see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today. In a bit of a weird timing, I think, usually for this Animal Crossing episode. Normally I record it I start as close to 6 as possible, or I just record it way late at night. That's normally because there is a D&D session, which is slated to happen in about 28 minutes or so. There's a little bit of back and forth on necessarily what time we're starting, and I don't mean this as, of course, a shot to my friends or anything. This is a genuine mistake from my part. I was just we'll get into it in a second. Hold on. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow at 6:32 p.m. on Monday, April 8th, 2024. Yeah, because usually we start at 7 UK time, and then we're just like, because one of our friends, it's a bit difficult for him, because he's an hour ahead. It's like, okay, maybe we can try and start earlier. So it's like, okay, maybe the earliest I could start is probably like 6:30. It'd be difficult to get any earlier than that. So we're gonna do that, and I legitimately forgot about it until someone asked at 4, and I was like, oh god, yeah, I forgot that we were gonna try starting at 6:30. But then that friend is like it's unavailable, and then we pushed it back to 7. I was like, okay, well, I mean, now I'm kind of ready at 6:30ish. So I guess I'll just do what I would normally do in the time leading up to it and record the Animal Crossing episode now. So here we go. Again, there's another D&D session where, as I think all of them will probably be, not all of them. It'll alternate between sessions which are super open-ended and sessions which are this is kind of what you're going to do, because this is going to be one of the open-ended ones where it's what direction do they take? I don't know. They've got a lot of different options necessarily ahead of them, and I'm going to give them even more options, I think, during this. So we'll sort of have to see exactly how it pans out. But then there'll be some sessions which, of course, are just this is what you're going to have to do. They're in a dungeon. They're not going to be oh, I'm just going to, leave a dungeon now or something halfway through. But this one, I'm not really sure how it's going to go necessarily. There are some ideas. There are some things here and there which it can be, which could end up being something which happens. I have some ideas, but it's going to be a lot of sort of improv, structural improv in that sort of sense. Where the micro scale is improvised, but then the macro scale is not improvised. That's all kind of planned out. But yeah, hopefully that won't be too bad. If it is too bad, then oh well, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to talk about today? I don't know. I will say I've got 2 worlds, again, from Valorant, stuck in my head now. I don't even know the lyrics. But it goes there, with 2 worlds, 2 worlds. It's not a song which sounds that, fascinating when you just sing it by itself, but when you have the instrumentals, it sounds really good, I think. And it's just got, I love a little lick of, keep your eyes on me, keep your eyes on me. And I listened to Chloe's voice lines as well, because I was curious. Let's see what's going on with this character. And now I'm worried that she's like they are like a Scottish character. Let me correct myself. They are a Scottish character, and they speak with a Scottish accent, not like a thickest Scottish accent that I've ever heard, but they've got some absolutely hilariously funny lines. Which it's been a while since I played Valorant. When did I last play? I think I last played when Fade came out. I know Harbour and Gecko came out. I saw a bit of Gecko being played, or maybe I played a tiny bit then, but not really all that much. I can't remember who else has come out since then. My peak playtime definitely was on release, and then there was a little bit, and then it sort of petered out a little bit, and it's just kind of whenever it comes up, and nowadays it's not all too much. But I don't know, as I say, I have the shooter gaming itch, which I don't even know if I have time to sort of facilitate, to be honest, but maybe that means I start playing Siege. Maybe that means I start playing Valorant. I don't think either of those are likely to happen, to be perfectly honest. Because when I think about it, being if I want to play games with my friends, what games would I prioritize? And probably would not be Valorant and Siege, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they are good games, don't get me wrong, but it's I don't know. It's a lot. 1, I'm not that great at Valorant. And 2, I'm pretty good at Siege, but not many of my friends really play Siege, to be honest. Only a handful. But I don't know. Could be a fun time. Could be not. Anyway, listen to her voice lines. It's so great. She had what is wrong with me? Come on. They have a fantastic line. Where I try my best to recreate it. I'm not that amazing at Scottish accents, so you just have to sort of bear with, I think. But it goes something along the lines wait, I got a lock in my shoe, and then they pause a bit, oh nice, free lock. And that's like immediately when the round starts. And then as soon as like basically there's like a round start time and there's like 30 seconds of setup, and then like this round begins. Like the actual like combat can begin. And when the combat actually begins, they just go, swear word. Shoot, I lost my pet rock. And I was just like, I don't know, when I heard these two lines, they're not immediately one after each other. When I heard that first one, I was like, I don't know why, that tickles me in a very funny way. It tickles my funny bone. And when I heard the second one, I was like, that's that's fantastic. And anyway, if anything, it's quite fitting. They have a lot of like sort of not D&D, I should say, like general sort of tabletop role-playing game-esque lines, like depending on the stage that you start in, and they will have like some sort of dialogue that goes over the top, like you're awake in a place where like which smells of reeks of death. The souls of those who were killed here from lab experiments gone wrong. Sort of thing, like, you know. I would say Scottish accent's kind of fun to do. Maybe I should practice it more. I should really practice more accents to really sort of elevate my D&D character NPC sort of thing. Because I can do some accents, I think, like an okay like impersonation of an accent. Like, it's not like my friends would judge me being like, oh, that's not a proper like, I don't know, accent. That's not a proper French accent. Like, what are you saying? Of course, I'm not going to buy into this. Like, because I always have a nice little shield of being like, it's a fantasy world. France doesn't exist. But being able to put off more accents, I think, at least can give a nice sort of variety. Because the biggest thing is the fact that it makes it easier for an NPC to be latched onto if they have a distinctive voice. At least I think. Because then they'll be like, oh, that NPC. It's really hard to remember names, I think, by themselves. But people, like, images are. If it's like an image or that sort of thing. An image is easier to latch onto, and like a story plot point is not too difficult to latch onto either. But things like voices can also like help it nonetheless as well. So if I just gave someone a very strong Scottish accent, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to impersonate Clovelines until I'm very good at impersonating them, and that would be good enough for a Scottish accent or something. I just love a line. Wait, I got a rock in my shoe. Oh, nice, free rock. Like, what do you mean like free rock? Free rock, just I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I guess it's very sort of like, they're very sort of Zoomer-esque now I think about it, right? Sort of Gen Z coded. Not that I'm particularly aware of if it got the generations of how it works in Valorant. To be honest, I think we're in a bit of a time stasis. If anything, I forgot what I was going to say about this. I don't really remember what I was going to say about this. I'm trying to think of more lines, which I found pretty funny. I just found it kind of cool. They had like these sort of D&D tabletop role-playing sort of lines. I think they also go nat 20 when they get like a headshot or something. What else did they say? I'm trying to remember. But there was something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what they said, but like, what was it? Like who's the lady to die for this thing? Except for me, because I'm kind of cheating or something like that. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like strange because comedy and humour in general is like one of the hardest things to write for, isn't it? Because sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. Humour, I mean, inherently a lot of things are pretty subjective, and humour is like one of the ones which are even more so. Not to say that humour is like completely subjective or random or anything like that. I mean, there's a reason that we have comedians. There's a reason that we have people who are like, hey, you're pretty funny. There are sort of general rules of things which people find funny and amusing, but not everyone's going to find exactly the same overlap of things funny and amusing. So writing a character which people actually sort of genuinely think is funny is, I'd imagine, quite difficult, to be honest. I'm sure a lot of people listen to closed voice lines and be like, oh, they're so cringe. And I'm like, yeah, they kind of are cringe, because, yeah, I mean, when, in the same way that probably most of the people listening are probably, I don't know. I wonder what the population player base is for Valorant, if it's young enough for it to be mainly Zoomers who are playing. Because I think it's probably getting to the stage where it's just like, oh, the millennials or older, I suppose. Probably millennials, I suppose, where like probably make up a majority of like internet users probably, and Gen Z are very much ones who have been born into it. Millennials were like introduced to it during their lifetime, that sort of thing. So now they're sort of like, but now Gen Z is becoming a larger portion, I suppose, of our online population. Myself included. Technically, I am Gen Z. If I'm very outskirts of it, as I understand it. it's interesting to think about like the population of Gen Z is only increasing, I suppose, year on year, right? So now that you see more online things, you'll see a lot more Gen Z things, and presumably, I think it'll probably happen to every generation. You see that as the way that the next generation acts beneath you as cringe, right? That's just kind of like, I'm not saying that's like how it should be. It's just sort of like a inevitability or something, right? Just because it's not what you do, and like you've, as a generation, have sort of like, I'm not trying to be like you millennial listening to us, because I don't know, I'm trying to say you as a collective, like millennials as a collective, but older generations as a collective have, you know, are just older, right? You got to sort of like work through your cringe years, right? I don't know. But it's interesting to think how targeting of demographics will change that sort of thing, because I mean certain games I think have people have strong associations with certain generations, right? You know, World of Warcraft, very strongly millennial thing. I don't know like any Zoomer who plays World of Warcraft, to be honest, but and then you might be like Fortnite, that's a pretty Zoomer thing, despite that Zoomer's actually the Fortnite's pretty old, to be honest. I think a decent amount of millennials played it, but now it's just, I don't know why I'm going into April Sisters, to be honest, but I think it has a strong association with Zoomer culture, because I guess that's kind of like how it's been carried through, whatever. But like, you think of League of Legends, like that's probably millennial coded is my guess. But like, I assume they're still getting a decent amount of players, like a year on year. Like, the population of Zoomers playing probably increases year on year as well, which is interesting to think about how necessarily retargeting will be different. Like, I don't know what sort of like generational differences will there be for how to like create things that appeal to their fan base. I don't really know. That is interesting to think about. What video game is, what's one of beloved millennials? Gen X, right? What video game is Gen X coded? Like Tetris or something? Is that too far back? Maybe that's boomer coded. I don't know what's up with this mouse, that sometimes it just is green and like it takes time to like warm up again or something back to the DPI. I guess it goes on sleep mode probably if I don't move it for a while. I never really thought about that. Let's see. Gen X 1970s and 80s. Video games. Tetris is like 60s or something, isn't it? Super Mario Bros. Oh yeah, just like NES stuff, right? I don't know why I didn't think of that. Tetris release date. 1980. Oh, Tetris was 1984. Why did I think it was 1960s? Pong release date. Pong wasn't even 1960s. Okay, I'm like way off. To be perfectly honest. So what's the most Gen X coded video game? Super Mario Bros. On the NES. What's the most millennial coded minigame? Video game? I don't know. I'm still tempted to kind of say World of Warcraft. Just because it's like, it was so big. And I mean, it is still pretty big at the time, but yeah, again, it's like if I'm not on like the school playground anymore, I suppose, but I'm thinking back to like my university days or like the school playground, probably like my last days of secondary school, and being like, oh, what games do kids play? Seeing as that I'm like the oldest cohort, I suppose, of the Zoomers. So everyone younger than me is by definition a Zoomer. Be like, what are people playing? Oh, it's Fortnite, FIFA, Minecraft, probably. Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to think about. I wonder what a Gen Alpha game will be. Probably a game which has not like even come to popularity yet or something. And some are just sort of like multi-generational spanning. Like Minecraft is pretty multi-generational spanning with both. Well, I mean two. Well, I guess Alpha is probably Generation Alpha is probably playing it with like millennial Zoomers and Alphas probably all playing it a decent amount. How old is Gen Alpha right now? They're probably like 13 or something. Gen Alpha. 2010s. So the oldest is at 14. Which is interesting to think about. So I wonder what will be definitive for them. Is it? I don't know. It's just, now I think about it, I guess what I'm really saying is the passage of time is fascinating, and seeing how culture, I suppose, shapes and evolves over time. Which I guess is not really new news to anyone. That's kind of like why historians exist, right? I don't think historians would sit around being like, oh, you know, passage of time is so boring, I don't want to study this anymore, oh, but I have to because someone's got to do it. Like, no, I think historians would be like, wow, passage of time is really fascinating, look at all these cool things which happen and what like lessons we can learn from it and predict and see occurrences in the future of. Probably. I assume. Maybe that's not something I should say with certainty, but yeah, I forgot what I was going to say about that. I don't really know, but that was just kind of like all that came to mind. It's just, I don't know, fascinating, isn't it? What passage of time could have exist. Yeah, I don't know. What other video games are very sort of... I don't know, what video game would be alpha code? I'm trying to think of a video game which is popular with the teens right now. Literally, the first thing that came to mind was My Singing Monsters. I'm like, that's definitely not right. I mean, technically, I think probably the highest proportion of people who play that might be Gen Alpha. But I don't know if that for certainty. And I also don't know anything about My Singing Monsters, except for just, like, Norma 9's daughter plays it. That's it. And I had, like, some family friends who were kids play it as well. I think that's about it. It's also not... How popular a game even is it? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a most Generation Alpha game ends up being a mobile game, right? It kind of seems like... Like, don't underestimate the amount of people who play... I don't even know why I'm cutting down, like, chopping trees. Do I even have a mission? I do have a mission for it, okay. I was like, am I just doing this fruitlessly? Actually, it does bear a lot of fruit, to be honest. I don't know why I've ever had this tree here, to be honest, in the first place. I might just cut this tree down in general. But, like... The proportion of people like playing mobile games as gamers is like increasing like year on year. It's getting people love playing mobile games, you know. Don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against mobile games either. Just people underestimate it. True game of this, true game of that has to be PC, platform, or console. Nay, I say. Nay, I say. Certainly, I mean, but I don't mean to like completely overlook the whole conversation about like the mobile market, the gaming market, and the sort of like very predatory microtransaction-esque model and like short attention spans, which I'm sure it sort of like facilitates. But to say that, like, you can't write off an entire platform, I suppose, just because it's not one of the original platforms for gaming, right? Probably. I don't know what I was talking about, to be perfectly honest. Generational game, I don't know. Gen Alpha video game. Gen Alpha and Gen Z video gamers face a new threat. Whoa, that's not really what I meant. Gen Alpha are the biggest gaming enthusiasts. This is incredibly vague. 94% of Gen Alpha are game enthusiasts. Is that true? Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, Baby Boomers. I mean, mobile platform seems to be actually the most popular in all generations, which I guess makes sense now I think about it more. And unsurprisingly, the percentage of people who are gamers increases generation by generation, provided that this information is correct. 94 for Alpha, 90 for Gen Z, 82 for Millennials, 64 for Gen X, 43 for Baby Boomers. Fascinating. I feel like at least it's very, very common nowadays to talk to people, at least people around my sort of age, and be like, what game do you play? And most people will be like, oh yeah, I play a bit of this game. I think it's rarer to find people who are like, oh yeah, I play a lot of games, like these are all the games I play. But some people will be like, oh yeah, I play a bit of Fortnite sometimes, or maybe I'll play like Minecraft. Some people have been like, oh yeah, I play some Baldur's Gate. It's crazy to see if, like, people just like talk about Baldur's Gate who are just like, oh, I'm just like, wow, you know. Like how popular gaming's become. It's awesome, is what I say. I don't know, generational gaming. Is that what this episode's going to be called? I actually have no idea. Anyway, the D&D campaign's going to start in like 2-9 minutes, so I guess I'll be rounding this episode off here. What message? Yeah, fair enough. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Bye-bye for now.